Dear listeners, I am Ghazal Zandkarimi, executive of this projection. Our paper's title is The Effect of E-Learning with Teachers Teleworking and Virtual Presence of Parents on Test and Anxiety, Achievement, Motivation and Academic Achievement among high school students, which were investigated by Professor Sayed Monawar Yazdi and I from Al Zahra University in Iran. E-learning is the use of telecommunication technology in order to deliver information for education and training, such as the development of information and communication technology. E-learning is progressing as a paradigm of modern education. The great advantages of e-learning are making interactions between learners, instructors, or learners through the asynchronous and synchronous learning network models. E-learning characteristics fulfill the learning requirements in modern society and have created great demands for institutes of higher education. Electronic learning has now been recognized to ease out the learning process and to develop students' achievements with the usage of technology. Electronic learning or the online education has transformed traditional classroom strategies by broadening its scope, which is no more than a genius way of reaching out to those who do not have the necessary resources to finish schooling. Effective e-learning comes from using information and communication technologies (ICT) to develop educational opportunity and help students to develop their skills. Most of evidences suggest that e-learning can deliver substantial positive effects such as students' engagement, teachers' positive attitudes, personalized learning, family interaction, and parental involvement. Tele in 2003 noted that the presence of virtual learning styles can influence the prediction of a student's success in web-based learning environments. His follow-up study showed that students were generally able to adapt their learning style in order to succeed in a web-based environment. However, students with a preference for systematic planning and abstract conceptualization of a situation were likely to be more successful than students preferring concrete experience and interaction with other students. On the aspects of cognitive process and learning, Waxman, Lin and Miko in 2005 found that the correlation between cognitive outcomes and using technology is significant among students. They indicated that using technology instruments can clearly increase students' cognitive outcomes. According to our investigation, there were no studies about the effect of e-learning with teacher teleworking and virtual presence of parents among high school students with regard to their test and anxiety, achievement, motivation, and academic achievement. The questions were posted in this study were whether e-learning could reduce test and anxiety or could it increase achievement, motivation, and academic achievement. The proposed hypotheses were: 1. E-learning is effective on the test and anxiety of high school students. 2. E-learning is effective on the achievement motivation of high school students. And 3. E-learning is effective on the academic achievement of high school students. The method used in this research was an experimental approach with a control group. The lightnetpro.com site was the research environment. The statistic population were high school students in Tehran. A sample of 200 high school students were selected randomly and with regard to educational field of study, equally assigned to the experimental and the control group. Both groups took test and anxiety scale tests from Sarason in 1980 and achievement motivation questionnaire from Hermens in 1970 at the beginning and the end of their educational term. In order to assess students' academic achievement, their first term GPA was as a pre-test and the second term GPA was as a post-test in an academic year. Participants in the experimental group studied all of their courses in LightnerPro.com site for 4 months. Independent variable was the method of study, i.e. e-learning in LightnerPro.com site, and dependent variables were test and anxiety, achievement motivation, and academic achievement. LightnerPro.com site is developed by Partovi and Zankarimi in 2010. That registration number is 209397. The most important abilities of LightnerPro.com are: a study method. Planning a study for each lesson in Lightner method was automatically a step-by-step questions processing system. In next step, system was asking those questions from students and was processing the next questions with regard to a student's ability. Then system had exam for students every 2 weeks in order to enhance the students' abilities for final exam. B. Supportive strategies. As the system is web-based, teachers and also parents can get reports automatically over internet. Also, the server can send SMS in period of time to parents. Teachers and students can chat with each other. Therefore, the relationship between teachers and students were closer by these facilities. System abilities. Teachers can write hyperlinks in cards so the students will be guided to scientific sites for further study. Evaluation. The system was able to do registration records for teachers as well as following up each student's progress. Another facility was comparing the students' activities with each other in one class, other classes or schools. There was the possibility of evaluation of booklets materials that were difficult to be remembered, so the teachers can find and edit them. Eventually, this site could reduce the students' educational costs and could increase the productivity of schools. Findings of this research showed that e-learning in LightnerPro.com site with teachers teleworking and parents' virtual presence has a positive effect on high school students' test and anxiety, achievement motivation, and academic achievement. These results were in line with previous findings. Results from Table 1 showed that the experimental group scored less on the test and anxiety than the control group. Also, the experimental group scored higher on the achievement motivation and the academic achievement than the control group. Furthermore, results showed that the control group scored higher on the test and anxiety in post-test. This problem may be due to the lack of the facilities which were not available to the control group, while participants in the experimental group had all of them. Examples of these facilities are support of parents, daily educational planning insight, daily exams insight, and full virtual control of teachers. Researchers found that parents, students, and teachers-students interaction and potentially to access to courses materials can give a great visibility to parents and teachers about students' schoolwork and homework. Studies have shown that both teachers and parents' control and support are effective in students' achievement. The developed system, LightnerPro.com, makes teachers and parents to have access to students' learning process too. This technology was effective for test and anxiety, achievement motivation, and academic achievement among high school students. According to analysis of covariance represented in Table 2, the calculated F was significant for all of the variables. Also, results of Shefe post hoc showed there were significantly differences between high school students' test and anxiety, achievement motivation, and academic achievements means scores in pre-test and post-test. Therefore, our all research hypotheses were confirmed in this research. This research led us to reach the conclusion that LightnerPro.com can support a large number of students in the world. On the other hand, learning and training cost few in this website. The students can significantly achieve to study, repeat, exercise and test facilities with low costs. There are many areas deprived of schools and educational facilities. It is cheaper to access the internet than to provide the educational facilities such as schools, teachers, books and libraries in many of these areas. LightnerPro.com can support the students' educational needs in many of these deprived areas. Of course, it is true that learning in our website does not completely meet the students' educational needs, but it is largely helpful. The findings of research showed that e-learning inside with the teachers teleworking and parents' virtual presence were more effective in the experimental group. It could reduce the test anxiety and increase the achievement motivation and academic achievement of high school students, so expanded of e-learning sites with high abilities for high schools are suggested. Unfortunately, there are many areas that parents do not send their daughters to school due to cultural biases. However, they are rich and wealthy. LightnerPro.com can meet these girls' educational needs without going to school. We hope this research and our educational website would draw attention to this matter by some organizations such as UNESCO to educational planning in order to help these children. This technology can improve students' academic achievement as well as having reached to a certain standard level of education with no access to traditional schools. Then by this technology, the deprived students and especially girls can achieve to educational provisions. Thank you for your attention.